name Normandy likely brings to mind the D-Day landings, a moment that changed the 20th century. We see the windswept beaches and remember the courage that turned the tide of the war. But the origin of the famous name has nothing to do with the Allies. It comes from a much earlier conflict, born from a century of terror that brought the entire kingdom to its knees. What's going on today, guys? My name is Forger. Today we're going to be telling the story of how raiders, which we call Vikings, but who were known simply as Northmen, brutalized the kingdom of France so completely that a desperate king gave them a piece of his country just to make the violence stop. Now, to understand how this happened, we have to rewind to the 9th century. Charlemagne's great empire was crumbling, creating a power vacuum. From the north, a new force emerged to exploit it: the Vikings. In their revolutionary longships, these warriors could not only raid coastlines but sail deep into Francia, using its rivers as highways for invasion. The Seine, in particular, became a corridor of chaos. At first, the raids were seasonal. The Northmen would plunder and then sail home. To the Frankish kings, there were problems with no easy answer. The Franks had a powerful army, but no real navy, and were too slow to counter the Vikings' lightning-fast attacks. As raids grew bolder, Vikings started setting up permanent winter camps, allowing them to strike deeper and more often. This peaked in 1885 when a massive Viking fleet sailed up the Seine and laid siege to Paris. For nearly a year, the Northmen attacked the city relentlessly. The king, Charles the Fat, finally arrived with an army. But instead of fighting, he paid the Vikings 700 pounds of silver just to go away. The strategy of paying was a disaster. It signaled that Francia was rich but weak, an open invitation for more attacks. Among the Vikings at the siege was a chieftain named Rollo. He saw Francia's wealth and fragile leadership, and it only fueled ambition further. Decades passed, but the raiding didn't stop. Rollo had established a permanent base at the mouth of the Seine, controlling the kingdom's most vital waterway. By the year 1911, the Frankish king, Charles the Simple, was out of options. His kingdom was exhausted, his armies couldn't dislodge Rollo, and paying them off had only made things worse. After a key battle near Chartres, Charles realized he couldn't destroy Rollo, but he couldn't let him keep rampaging either. So Charles made a desperate, brilliant decision. He sent an archbishop to negotiate. The offer was radical. Charles would give Rollo and his men a massive chunk of North Francia. In exchange, Rollo had to do three things: swear loyalty, convert to Christianity, and most importantly, use his warriors to protect the kingdom from any other Vikings. Charles was essentially hiring the greatest enemy to be his chief of security. For Rollo, it was an offer he couldn't refuse: legitimacy, wealth, and a kingdom of his own in all but name. He accepted and was baptized. And this is where the name comes from. The Franks had long called the Vikings the Normandy, Latin for Northmen. The territory given to Rollo and his men quickly became known as Terra Northmendamo, the land of the Northmen. Over time, this smoothed out into Normandy. The new name stuck and is a permanent reminder to the region's violent origins. But the Northmen didn't stay foreign for long. They married local women, they adopted the French language, and embraced Christianity. The Viking raiders had assimilated, becoming something new: the French-speaking Christian lords known as the Normans. These new people, the Normans, kept the ambition and military skill of their Viking ancestors, but channeled it through a powerful, organized feudal state. The Duchy of Normandy grew into a European superpower, its dukes acting as independent rulers. The creation of Normandy wasn't the end of their story, it was the beginning. The hunger for land that drove Rollo up the Seine was passed down to his descendants. And just 150 years after that treaty, in 1066, Rollo's great-great-great-grandson would gather the power of this new Norman state. His name was William, and he would soon be known as the Conqueror, the Duke of Normandy, who soon became the King of England. So, why is Normandy called Normandy? because a desperate king traded land for peace. That's pretty much it. Officially recognizing the territory conquered by the Northmen, name is a fossil and preserves the memory of the violence that originated there.